Welcome to Summer of Money. I'm Megan Potter, and I'm going to be your guide for this 2-month exercise in transforming your money, your business, and your life. Summer of Money isn't about how much money you have, but about your relationship to it. Are you open to receive? I know what you're automatically going to tell me. You're going to tell me, of course, I'll take money. I need money, or I want money. Who doesn't want more money? Of course we'll take money. But let's back up a little bit. Are you actually open to receive? What if I offered you a compliment? You look gorgeous today. Or help? If I offered to help you, would you be available to accept the help that I offer? Would you know what to ask me to do if I offered to help you? Are you open to receive feedback? What about referrals if I wanted to send you people? Or public praise if I went online and started raving about you? How would that make you feel? Would you be comfortable receiving that? Or what about my undivided and completely focused on you attention? How would receiving that make you feel? When people find out that I'm a face reader, I get one of 3 predictable responses. The first one is a blank stare because nobody knows what it is. The second one is a request to read their face because, let's admit it, that's pretty darn cool. And the third one is not as common, but people actually begin to cover their faces when they find out that I can read them. Part of that is the uncomfortableness of realizing that I can know things, maybe private things about you just by looking at you. But part of it is sometimes the inability to receive feedback and insight, and most of all, attention. Almost everyone becomes uncomfortable with the kind of attention I need to give them to be able to read their faces. On one hand, we want money to pay a bill, to help us reach a particular goal, or to travel to some place. But on an energetic level, not consciously, but in the rest of us, we may actually not be able to receive, not be open to it. They may not seem like the same thing, but if you really struggle to take in a compliment or some help, which are really another form of energetic exchange, much like money is, then you probably, on an energetic level, are also struggling to receive money. One of the really practical ways to tell whether you have some kind of receptivity block is if you have a hard time telling people how much your services cost. If you really struggle for saying, hey, this costs this much, then that might be one of the indicators that you're having a really hard time receiving money. Or if you have a hard time following up with clients who owe you money and asking for the money that is owed to you out of obligation. I was talking to a friend a little while ago, and she was telling me about how a client came in for a service, and she did the service, but the client was supposed to pay later on. And when the client didn't pay, she waited a little while and finally felt like she really had to follow up and ask for the money, otherwise she wouldn't get it. But she told me that asking for the money that was owed her for the service she had already provided was the most uncomfortable thing she'd had to do in a really long time, and had her rethinking her relationship with money because of it. The thing is that a lot of us are really comfortable with giving, but not so comfortable or able to receive. In Feng Shui, one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is address your front door. In both my work as a space clearer and within the traditions of Feng Shui, your front door is called the mouth of your home. It represents how you take things in. It's a reflection of your ability to receive. If your front door is hard to find for people, then it's going to be hard for energy to find it too. If approaching your front door feels unappealing or intimidating to people, then it's going to feel that way to energy too. brightly colored front doors, wide pathways, pretty plants. All of these things are meant to create an open invitation for people and energy to come in through the mouth of your house and into your life. When we look at our own front doors, we don't really see the details anymore. We can't really notice if the door seems hard to find or if the bushes are getting raggedy. We kind of ignore that the steps don't feel as secure or safe, or we miss the spider webs that are growing on the mailbox. This is because we see it every day. We don't process it in the same way. But we also can't really experience ever what it would be like for a stranger walking up to our front door, because it's ours. One of the things that could kind of help is to imagine how a mailman or a newspaper boy feels when they first get there. That's kind of the closest you can get to really experiencing what the energy of the front door feels like when you still live in that house. Your house is a reflection of what's going on inside of you, and it's generally considered that if your front door doesn't feel welcoming or it's really not grabbing people's attention, then that can actually indicate that you're struggling to receive, to be open. And in the same way that we can't really tell how our front door appears to other people, it's really hard for us to judge our own receptivity to other things. Because we want money and we need money, it becomes a really difficult place for us to tell if we're then actually open to receiving the money. What I see happen a lot of times is that people talk about money coming kind of in big windfalls. We talk about, when I win the lottery, or if I get this really big client. It kind of is like finding the solution, our money solution, from this big thing outside of us. It feels external and not like there's a relationship between it. But money actually comes from specific sources and specific people a lot of the times, especially when you run your own business. And that's kind of where the block can come in, because it's much harder to receive from one specific person than it is from this big idea conglomerate money that just kind of showed up from out there. What would happen if I said I had $500 and I'm going to give it to you? I don't need you to do anything for me. In fact, I don't want you to do anything for me. I don't want you to pay it forward. I don't want you to thank me. I don't want you to give me a service or offering or gift in exchange. I just want you to take the money. That makes us really uncomfortable. Being open to receive means being able to accept the money, no matter where it comes from, who brings it into your life, or how it shows up, whether or not you're required to give an exchange for it or an offering. Just being able to take it in and say thank you. No complications, no extra things required, but seeing the money that comes into your life and taking it, accepting it with a heartfelt thanks, but nothing else. This is actually a lot harder than it sounds. In the scenario, we talked about a specific person giving you $500. But what happens when the spirit of money wants to show up and wants to bring money into your life in whole new ways? How does that happen? Most of us have some kind of containers and obstacle course created in front of us that we force money to go through. Ideas about deserving and how you have to work hard to get money, or how much money is possible to show up in our life at any one time. This makes it really difficult for money to come in and do things differently in the ways that we actually say we want, but don't have the space or capacity to allow it to come in because of our lack of receptivity. How does money show up if the front door isn't obvious? If there's not a welcome mat that says, hey, come on in as you are? We create these boundaries in two different ways. The first way is with limiting beliefs and ideas. We tell ourselves that nobody would ever pay us for that, or, I'm just not good enough at this to be worth that kind of price. Or money doesn't grow on trees, it's not like it's just gonna show up for you. These limiting beliefs become part of these really strange obstacle course that we start to build and force money to work its way through for us to be able or willing to receive it. The other way that we contribute to this blockade is actually with ideas that come from manifestation. It's not that these things are limiting or constricting in the same way as the other beliefs, but that they can still be confining, because what happens is that we're asked to imagine or to think about what it is we want to have come into our life. But usually what happens, just the way our brains work when we do that, is we also begin to imagine how it will come into our lives. And when we do that, we still create a confined container. It's something that money has permission to show up in this way because I can see it coming in that way. But that actually becomes part of the obstacle course. So even though you think you're envisioning, you're giving permission for more money to come in, sometimes in doing that, you're actually blocking what money would like to bring in. One of the things I've actually personally learned to hold on to through my own journey with money is, of all things, a Bible verse. The Bible verse says that God will bring us more than we could ask or imagine. I've learned through my own experience that when I ask or imagine, it actually ends up limiting what could come in. And that when I'm not so attached to that, when I release that, the most amazing things show up, and they really are more than anything I could have thought to ask for. Being open to receive is about being open, being curious, being interested in seeing how something could show up in your life. It's taking a situation like, I have no idea how I'm going to pay my rent this month, and throwing that out into the universe, saying, I need this is the money I need, and being willing to see how that comes and when and where, and not trying to contain it within your own concept of how that should come. It's the equivalent of painting your front door red and saying, hey, look at me over here, I want your attention. The thing is that learning to be open is really hard. I mean, really, really hard. It takes a long time. I've been working on it for years, and I still have to work on it and pay attention to it. The good news about that is that being open is like the aperture in a camera. It can get more and more and more open. There's always room for us to expand, for us to be able to take in more, to trust more in the universe. And so it's always something that we can work on, but it's not that we're not good enough at it yet. I have this mantra or prayer or chant, I'm not really sure what you would call it. I made it up for myself. And I really want to offer it to you this week as kind of your thing to experiment with and think about. Every time you receive something this week, you get paid by a client, or you find a dime on the sidewalk, or somebody pays you a compliment, money associated or not money associated, I want you to say my mantra. Thank you. I'm grateful. I love you. It's really simple. Thank you. I'm grateful. I love you. Every time you receive something. The thing is that the mantra brings me into this place of openness. It stops my mind from automatically following where that money needs to go and how much I have, or what I have to do, or why I don't deserve, or anything. It stops that whole mind-wandering thing, and it brings me right into this moment, into this open place. Thank you. I so appreciate this. I'm grateful. I love you. Try it this week and pay attention to how you feel, but not just to how it changes how you feel, because it will if you do it, but also pay attention to how much more you start to receive. As usual, I'd really love to hear from you. I want to hear how the ideas in this week's video are percolating for you, or how the experiment goes. I especially want to hear how the experiment goes this week. You can leave your questions and comments in the comment section below. You can hit me up on Facebook, or you can even email me if you want to. I'm always happy to hear from you guys. If you like the video, hit like, that would be so awesome. And we're also going to recommend that you hit subscribe so that you don't miss any of the Summer of Money videos that are coming up. And hey, thank you for watching this video. I'm so grateful. I love you. Bye.